All right, looks like we are live. So, welcome to another episode of Coffee and KOs. I am Steve, and I'm joined by a friend of the show, a common face around here. This is Lewis at Norton MMA. Lewis, how are you doing today?
Doing good, man. Ready to talk some MMA?
MMA, man, it's a hot time for MMA right now. We got UFC 260 coming up. We got all these big fights being announced. There's just a lot going on. If you're a fan, it's a great time to be a fan. Let's be honest.
I love it. And these next fights coming up as well. And these cards, they're just ridiculous. They're getting out of hand.
Oh yeah. Yep, that's true. And so if you follow our channel, we've done a whole bunch of videos on all these new fights coming out, but for today we're going to talk about one that's probably going to go under the radar a little bit. It's at UFC 262 in May. This is Jack Hermansson taking on Edmen Shahbazyan. And when I heard this one announced, like I'm a Jack Hermansson guy through and through. Like I have like a list of like 5 or 6 guys, call it like my guys. 100%, he's on my list, and I know you're a big fan as well, right?
I like him. Obviously, from the UK, we get Cage Warriors, and he was big in Cage Warriors for a few fights as well. Before he got into the UFC, he fought for Venator and Cage Warriors back and forth, and then he got into the UFC. So I like seeing him come up and then getting a big name in the UFC and progressing heavily. It's nice.
Yeah, and progressing heavily, I think, is kind of the key words there. But he did fall short against Marvin Vettori. That one was hard to watch, honestly. Thought he was going to go out in round 1. Somehow does not. Carries, what did he ended up going all 5 rounds, right? That was a unanimous decision for Vettori. But, dude, hanging tough. He absolutely can do that, and his cardio is insane. Like, you have to kill him to put him away.
Basically, yeah. And yeah, as you say, it was tough to watch, but I think that was more of a credit to how Marvin Vettori's come along rather than, and how stacked the division is, more than has Jack Hermansson just like, was he hyped up a little too much? I don't think he was. I think it was just the competition is styles make fights in this middleweight. And that style for Marvin was just perfect for him.
Yeah, it seemed like the style kind of worked in his favor. And just to talk about Edmen Shahbazyan for like a quick second here. Do you not think it's like absolutely insane that the UFC was like, okay, we're going to like hype you up all this time, throw you to Derek Brunson. Derek Brunson manhandles him, really humbles him a lot. And then they just turn around and they go, okay, Jack Hermansson next, number 7, Jack Hermansson. Do you not think that that's pretty insane?
It is. From the level when he was 11-0, the best obviously knockout he had was over Brad Tavares, which is an amazing knockout because you think he went 5 rounds with Israel Adesanya. Brad Tavares is a proper name in this division. He's hard to put away. He's a great fighter. And then I think Derek Brunson wasn't necessarily a bad fight for him. I think it was a good step up because Derek Brunson was always the guy that struggled to get into the top 5. So it was, okay, this is the gatekeeper to the elite. Can he crack this at an early age? If not, it will win or learn mentality for him. He obviously couldn't. He got destroyed, basically. It was a man versus a boy in there, essentially.
Yes.
I think if they wanted to rebuild him, they would have given him someone probably around the 15 to 10 mark, maximum 10 mark. Jack Hermansson has been fighting the top dogs, and it's a kind of another Derek Brunson kind of feel out. Maybe he asked for this. No, don't give me someone lesser almost. But it feels like they're feeding him to the wolves a little bit. Maybe they're backing Hermansson rather than Shahbazyan if they want promotion side. But I think Edmen's going to correct a lot of his game, and you might see him a bit more fiery in this one, a little less gun shy.
Yeah, and that's, now seeing, Vettori was able to kind of hit Jack Hermansson, and that kind of, tested his chin a little bit. And then obviously in his fight against Jared Cannonier, Jared Cannonier is kind of knocking everyone out, but Shahbazyan definitely has that one-shot knockout power. And that's something that he's really done throughout his UFC career so far and his MMA career. But we know that he, trains with Ronda Rousey, is managed by Ronda Rousey and her former coach. And he kind of grew up on the sport, and he's got this incredible background. Like, he does actually have a pretty solid ground game to go along with his striking. And that, I'm not going to lie, that kind of worries me a little bit for Jack Hermansson.
Yeah, and he comes from a judoka background, I believe, with the Armenians. It's like Kara Parisian, isn't it? And a lot of people like that. I can't remember all their names. They're crazy names. But yeah, it's definitely. But the one question I have for this fight mainly is, this is his first loss. How does he bounce back from a first loss? Whether he hangs his head, whether he goes, okay, let's improve, whether he cries about it, whatever. Jack Hermansson's been here before. He's lost before. He's got 6 losses on his record. he knows how to bounce back and he knows how to win against big names. He's been on the big stage now. Shahbazyan's fallen at the big stage. It's going to be one of those, okay, flip of a coin. Have we got another guy here that's going to just go win, loss, and just be a standard 10 to 15 fighter? Or have we got a proper promising guy at 23 years old? But again, he's so young as well, 23.
So young. That's my whole gripe is he's only 23 years old and he just, he got the climb up. He lost to Brunson. It's like, okay, take a step back. Like, let's relax a little bit. Go for that, fringe 15 guy. Yeah, maybe like around the top 10 area. But sure. Jack Hermansson, man, like he was not far ago. He was just a top 5 guy, potentially fighting for the belt at one point. Vittori, that's like one more shot and then you get the title shot. So it's just a dangerous opponent. And like the guy just brings insane cardio, best choking game, like maybe in the UFC. Like he has an insane grip and he can just submit anyone. That's really, obviously I don't think Jack Hermansson's going to try to stand and strike with Shahbazyan. That's going to be a bad idea. And I do think Shahbazyan does have a solid ground game. He has, I think who did he guillotine choke that I was just watching recently? It was Jack Marshman, I believe. He got the rear naked on that one.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I think that's going to be interesting. If Jack does decide to go to the ground, will Edmen be able to hang with him? Or will Jack kind of just have his way and land one of those chokes that he's been doing for a long time now?
I think, I think this is going to be a proper MMA fight. It's going to be placed everywhere. I can't imagine it's just going to be a stand-up striking fest. I think it's going to be a lot of grinding, a lot of back and forths, a lot of takedowns, a lot of get-ups. It's going to be I don't want to be a judge in this fight kind of fight.
I know. So you don't think a finish happens?
I don't think a finish happens. I don't. I think this is a really good fight for Edmen in a way, because this is as elite you can get basically without breaking that top 5. It's easier than Derek Brunson almost, but not. It's really hard to describe Jack Hermansson's technique, game, experience, because he's been there and done it. He's had nearly 30 fights. He's been at the top. He's won fight, as you say, maybe off a title fight with the little role he was on. He's beaten some top fighters. He's beaten Jacare, David Branch,
Gastelum.
Yeah, there you go. It's speechless when you see. Okay, he's got some great wins. Yes, he's got some losses, but if he wins this, Shahbazyan's back, and the hype will be real. And that's maybe what the UFC are hoping for. They can hype either guy here.
Yeah, I think that was kind of one of my big things too. You look at the division, and this is not really the most exciting division because you have the champ in Izzy, who everyone's saying he's never going to lose. Like, doesn't matter who you throw him, he's never going to lose. And maybe
blueprint
you think
now,
the blueprint's there. I mean, that's why Vittori is a guy that's going to be scary, or someone with the ground game who can hang with him. So I could see them trying to push either guy definitely, because this is not one of the most exciting divisions right now. So I could see that being kind of the narrative, but I do like Jack Hermansson in this fight. I do think with the level of experience that he's had and just those wins that you mentioned, like the Jacare Souza unanimous decision, that's massive. The Kelvin Gastelum submission, I get that was kind of like a flash submission. He kind of caught him on that one, but that's still a massive name on your record. He's fought Jared Cannonier. He's fought Marvin Vittori. I think that's really going to be a big difference maker here. Shahbazyan only has 12 fights professionally. That's just not enough for me. And I think Jack, with all the experience in the world and just having like that, he is like a weird, unorthodox fighter with his striking that can be really annoying sometimes. And then, factor in that he can go to the ground and submit you. I think it is going to pose problems. And the cardio, I think we saw the cardio with Edmen in his last fight. He kind of blew the gas tank early on. That's something you do not want to do against Jack Hermansson, because he can go all 5. He brings the energy. It is insane that he can do that. But I do like Jack Hermansson here. And I think I agree with you. I think it will go to decision, because I do think Edmen does have the ground game to kind of keep away from the submission game of Jack Hermansson. But I will go Jack by decision on this one.
Yeah, I think one stat as well that I do like is not for Edmen, though, is that he's got 12 fights, but he hasn't got much experience. If you think 9 of them or 10 of them haven't gone out the first round. All his wins, except one, are in the first round, normally sub 1 minute or 90 seconds. Other than the split decision to my man Darren Stewart, where that went 3 rounds. Other than that, Derek Brunson, he did get into the 3rd round. That's the thing as well. He was getting outclassed, but he still hung in there for 3 rounds, and he provided a lot more fight back than, say, Kevin Holland did for a lot of it. So I agree. I do think Jack Hermansson's he's got to be the favorite, and he's got more weapons to win in this. So I would favor Jack Hermansson as well. If he is going to win, I could see a submission, but I think with the mentality, as you say, with Ronda at the back, you got Kara Parisian, you got Manny Gambarian, people like that. I think he's got the team behind him that could push him to the top. And again, he's got the team that had one of the best women champions of all time. I think the mentality will be fine. And I think if Edmen does win, it's going to be a quick knockout as per normal. But I've got to side with Jack Hermansson.
Man, if it's a flash knockout in round one, I can't take that. And like we just said, like Vettori did land a big shot early in round one. I thought that fight was going to end quick. So if it happens again, that's going to be a tough for Jack coming on. He'll be drop 2 of his last 3 there. So that'll be really tough for him. But hey, Edmen Shahbazyan, he can do it. He's got the one-shot knockout power. But you heard it here, guys. We have both choosing Jack Hermansson to win this one. We do think he'll probably be the favorite when the odds come out. So this is an instant reaction. Thanks for tuning in. This is Steve with Coffee and KOs. You can subscribe to us. We are at Coffee and KOs 1, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, podcasts on all major platforms. And you can find Lewis at Norton MMA. So thank you, and we'll get back to you guys next time.